Hey guys, it's Mags from Yoga with Mags. Thanks for joining me. So today we're going to give some TLC to our lower back. So if you've been sitting for too long, then maybe you lost awareness of, keeping the right posture and the roundness in the lower back, not keeping, the natural spinal curvature might result in some niggles or discomfort in the lower back pain. So today we're going to give some love and some release and connect with that area of our body on a slightly deeper level. So we're going to start on our back in a constructed rest pose. So keep the feet quite wide and allow your knees to fall in towards each other. Bring the hands on your belly, or one hand on your belly, the other one on the bottom of your rib cage. So stay here for 3 breaths, sinking into the mat, noticing where your body comes in contact with the ground, particularly focusing on the lower back. How does it feel? And take a really deep breath in, gather everything that you don't need, so including the lower back discomfort. And sigh out through the mouth. So staying in a constructive rest pose gives our psoas muscles a bit of a passive stretch. So sometimes the lower back pain can be a result of tight hip flexors, and psoas work together with your diaphragm. So if you breathe deeply and fully, you also have to release this area. So keeping your hands on your belly and the bottom of your ribs, take a really deep breath in, feel the expansion through the belly. And softly exhale. 4 more breaths like this. In and out. Feel the belly rise as you breathe in. And allow it to relax. Deep inhalation. And slow, soft exhalation. Now keeping the hands where they are, bring the soles of the feet so they more or less parallel. So here we want to focus on how the movement of our pelvis affects the spine and how we can use our core to stabilize this area. So if your hip flexors are tight, they might be pulling your hips forward. So that's like when they're folding forward. So that can cause certain discomfort in the lower back. So it's nice to release this area, but also start deepening the connection with your pelvis and your spine. So bring your hips, your pelvis back. So it's like you want to press your lower back into the mat. So ground through the feet, gently push the mat away so that if there was any gap between the lower back and the mat, it's not there anymore. And then as you inhale, we come the other way. So we're tilting the hips forward. So you see, you can slide the hand between the lower back and the mat. And then as you exhale, you come back. So inhale, lift your pelvis. And exhale, push it into the mat. So 3 more times. Close your eyes and visualize the work of your pelvis right now. As you inhale, gently release your belly. And as you exhale, squeeze. 1 more time. And relax. And just stay here for a moment and notice, briefly reflect on which part felt better. And now we're pushing the pelvis into the mat, bracing your core. So you want the lower ribs to come in. So this is all strong. And then lift your legs up. So they can be parallel, a bit extended, but you want to focus on keeping the lower back pressed into the mat. So breathe into your chest. And as you exhale, draw your lower ribs in, brace your core. 3 rounds of breath here. So feel the engagement. Keep pushing your pelvis into the mat. And change the position of your legs if this isn't working for you today. You can just keep them low. Beautiful. So then drop your feet down and keeping them together, gently drop your knees out to the sides for Supta Baddha Konasana. So external hip opening, which also helps to release the front of the hips. Breathe deeply and fully. 1 more round of breath here. And then very gently you can use your hands to bring the legs back up. Cross your right leg, your right thigh over the left. And then shimmy your hips to the right side of the mat. Extend your arms out or wherever you've got room. And then slowly drop your legs to the left. So here you don't want to use any muscular engagement. Let gravity do all the work now. You can just stay and relax and keep focusing on all and any sensations in your lower back. So if this twist is a little bit too intense, you can uncross your legs. Remember, it's your practice. So if it feels good, you can look over the right shoulder, but I'd prefer to stay with my eyes closed, focusing on what's happening in my lower back and sacrum. Then, using the strength of your core that we have just established, gently bring yourself back to the center and swap the cross of the legs. So shimmy the hips to the left and then slowly descend your legs to the right. So notice how this side is feeling. Breathe out any tension. So the reason why we shimmy the hips off the center line before we drop the legs is that when we actually wind up in the twist, the spine is aligned. So the twist is being received by the parts that should be getting some neutralization. And then slowly bring yourself back up, uncross your legs, and you can draw the knees towards your chest, hugging the back of the thighs or your knees. And here explore if it feels better if you draw the knees towards your chest. Perhaps you bring the forehead to them, or actually if you keep them a bit further away. Have a little play, and then you can even rock from side to side, so massaging the entire area of the lower back, keeping the breath easeful and effortless. And either continue to do that or come to the center, hug your knees, take an inhale, lifting your shoulder blades off the mat, and as you exhale, bring your forehead to your knees, squeezing yourself into a tiny ball. Inhale, release, Exhale, squeeze. One more time. Then hug the back of the knees. And we're gonna rock forwards and down. So using the momentum, come up and then bring yourself down, tucking the chin towards the chest, massaging your back and all the muscles around the spine. If you want to have the flexibility for it, you can go all the way back. Perhaps your toes will touch the mat behind you, but don't force it. It just only becomes natural and if it feels good, because that's all this practice is about. So one more time. And as you come up, cross your legs and find a comfortable seat. So if you want to, you can sit on a block. If your hips feel quite tight, elevating them will make a huge difference for everything that you do, basically from a seated position. So we're going to do Sufi grinds. Normally it's like a cat and cow roll that I would go for, but I want you to switch off the head and actually focus on what's happening throughout the spine and initiate the rolls from your hips. So I can't ever decide if I want to start on the block or not. That's why you see me just shifting forwards and back. So I start in a simple cross-legged position, but you take your pick. And initiate the movement from your belly. So you gently push the chest forward and then go back. Keep the shoulders relaxed. And if you want to close your eyes. So the pelvic tilts that we did at the beginning of the practice, when we were either pushing the hips forward, lifting them, or going back, pressing the pelvis, the back of the pelvis into the mat. So try to engage the same motion, the same principles into this. That when you come forward, allow your hips to come forward. And then when you go back, roll the hips, the pelvis back. So 3 more times this way. Then we switch direction. So as you see, I'm not doing major circles or movements because actually I want to focus on that engagement throughout the hips and my pelvis. But if you can make bigger circles, as long as your sit bones are rooted, then it's perfectly fine. And we're switching off the head rolls here because I find it that when I do that, it takes my attention away from what's happening in, the lower parts of the body as well as the root chakra. And actually I focus on what's happening up here, and we want to undo that. So it's 3 more circles. And come to the center. So let's do a gentle twist. As you inhale, swoop your arms up and over the head. Find length through the spine, the sides of your body. And as you exhale, gently twist to the right. Left hand on the right knee, right hand behind you. So normally I always teach that all twists come from core. And that's true. But it depends what kind of engagement or what you're going for. But here, actually, relax and see how your spine is responding and where your body wants you to go. So we're not trying to go deeper, but actually you want to stay in a gentle twist, working with our breath, releasing any tension. So take a deep breath in, wave length through the spine. And as you exhale, breathe out any tightness. 1 more breath like this. And the next inhalation, sweep your arms up, look up, exhale, going the other way. So sit with a tall spine and then go where the body is telling you to. keep the spine elongated and your hips relaxed. Follow the journey of your breath throughout the body. And with the next inhalation, bring the arms over the head. And as you exhale, bring them out your heart. Transition onto all fours. I'm going to move through 3 rounds of cat-cow and do some free cat-cow rolls. So shoulders over the wrists, hips over the knees. And as you exhale, lift your hip. So we're dropping our pelvis forward, lifting the heart. And as you exhale, we're rounding the back, but allow the movement to be initiated from your hips. So like we were trying to push the back of the pelvis into the mat, do the same action and round your upper back. So as you inhale, come forward. Exhale, round. In and out. And now as you inhale, drop your belly, lift your heart, look over your left shoulder, then push the mat away round your back, look over the right shoulder. So keep rolling this way and let the movement be initiated from the hips. Switch direction. And then bring the knees together if you can and slide your hips back. Extend your arms towards the short edge of your mat and drop your forehead down. So child's pose helps to decompress your lower back and elongate the spine. And on top of all, if you extend your arms forward and curl your fingertips a little bit further, then you might feel a nice stretch around your shoulder blades. And now bring the arms beside you and allow your shoulders to relax. Send your breath to the side of your ribs and space between your shoulder blades. And imagine the spaces between the vertebrae open up. So with the breath, we lengthen through the spine. So this posture is also psychologically soothing because you feel contained. One more round of breath here. And as you inhale, bring yourself forward. Come to tabletop and step the right foot through between the hands. So you want to feel something happening in the front of the hips. Keep the back foot flat and see if you can drop your hips. So stay on your fingertips or blocks, or even you can come up and rest your hands on the knee. So stretching out the front of the hips here. And now as you exhale, we slide the hips back, flexing the right foot. Finding release in the back of the right leg. So that's the tricky part. If you have tight hip flexors, the front of the hip, this might end up in lower back pain. If you have tight hamstrings, that can also lead to any discomforts in the lumbar spine. Inhale, come forward and step back into tabletop. Then bring the left foot forward and find your hip flexor stretch. Be mindful that one side might feel a lot different than the other. Connect with your breath and let it be grounding, let it be calm. And then with the next exhalation, gently slide the hips back, flex the left foot. Keep the rest of the spine long. And imagine any tightness being released as you exhale. In the next inhalation, come forward and step back into sitting on your heels. So then as you inhale, bring yourself up, slide your arms over the head. So here, find that gentle core engagement as you lengthen through the body. And then if you want, you can very gently bring your arms towards the back, lifting the sternum up. As you exhale, slowly descend your hips, bring the arm beside you, you can drop the head down. Inhaling, we rise. You can find a gentle back bend if it feels good to open up through the chest. And as you exhale, come down. One more time. Wave length. And breathing out, find grounding and stability. And as you inhale, come back to the center and see if you can sit on your heels. It's great because that will help you stretch out the top of your thighs. If, however, you've got the flexibility, you can keep the knees together, but slide your bum between your heels. So your heels and ankles are the outside of your hips. If this doesn't quite feel good on your knees, you don't have to do that. You can slide a block or a cushion underneath your bum. So this is really good to stretch out the ankles as well as the knees and slightly deepen the quadricep release. And then from here, whichever version you went for, apart from the first one, you can drop down onto your hands with the fingers pointing towards your feet. Roll the shoulders down and breathe. So either stay here or super mindfully, you can descend onto your elbows. I like to place my hands on my feet. And then if it feels good, you can open up through the front of your neck, through your throat chakra. But stay mindful of what's happening in your lower back. This posture is good for releasing the sacrum. Sometimes it might not be specifically the lumbar spine, but actually there's some compression in the sacrum. So this posture, reclining hero, allows you to decompress this area. If you can get into it, because it's not that nice or it doesn't always feel that great. And then bring yourself back onto your hands. And then very slowly slide onto your bum, bringing the legs in front of you. So if you have tight hamstrings and you want to keep your legs bent, bracing your core, finding length through the back, you fold over the legs, so keeping the feet flexed. So that can help you release the lower back. So it's not about bringing the head to the knees or anything like that, but actually finding length and spaciousness in the lower back. You can always slide some cushions underneath or give your legs a little hug if you wrap your arms around them. After a while, you never know, you might be able to straighten the legs a little bit, but it's really important that you focus on what's happening right here. So breathe into that area, create space, and exhale any tightness. So 2 more rounds of breath here. And then either roll down for Shavasana, come to a comfortable seat. Close your eyes and make sure that your head is stacked over the shoulders, shoulders over the hips. Just take a brief moment to compare how your back is feeling now. And then open your eyes. So I hope that this practice has helped you alleviate some compression or perhaps some tension in your lower back area. Let me know how you feel, and remember that you can always just pick 1 or 2 postures or exercises from this practice, or just pick whatever you find most useful and what you like the most. Sometimes it's as much about slowing down and paying attention to the area as following a specific practice. So I hope you enjoyed it. Check out my other videos and hope to see you again soon. Namaste.